pass it around.
Okay.
That talks about the power of AI. So Elon Musk was one of the original guys that invested in Chat GPT and OpenAI. And this was about 15 years ago. And so he was part of the concept, and he actually brought in the original developer that came. I guess we're starting. The original developer, he found him, brought him in, and he said, okay, this is the idea with, the core founding group. And Elon Musk basically disappeared because he had to focus on this company called Tesla. And what ended up happening was he ended up taking his eye off the ball completely. The purpose behind OpenAPI and ChatGPT was that it was supposed to serve the community. It wasn't supposed to be something that was a profitable company. It wasn't something that was supposed to be embedded into your normal society. It was more along the lines of, this is going to assist us, it's going to provide us information, it's going to give you everything you need at your fingertips, but not do what it's actually doing now. So he kind of parted ways with OpenAPI, but he did this incredible interview that talks about the effects that this technology is going to have on society.
He did this interview 15 years ago?
No, he did this interview about 3 months ago. And
Who was the interview with?
I think it was done with CNN. I'll find it, and I'll send it to you guys. But he basically said, we're in a bit of trouble.
If he's afraid.
He's afraid because the technology that's been developed is so powerful that in the right hands, which anybody can use this thing, is fine because we don't really understand how to use the software. But in the wrong hands, it is so powerful that it could literally take down the world.
Skynet.
Yeah. So everything that you do and you input, Chat GPT is a machine. It pulls information from everywhere. Any source, it's an API. Are you guys familiar with APIs? An API is basically, it's code. And what it does is it connects to different pieces of software. And through the APIs, they pull all of the information that's available into the software. And so what ChatGPT has done is they've basically done integrations with literally everything that they could find, and they pull all relevant data into the software. And then what they do is, based on the queries that you guys do inside of the software, it starts doing machine learning. And it continues to update internally all of the information that it has to then be able to provide it to you. And that's technically how it works. What was happening up until last year is that it had data up until, I think it was 2017 or 2018, because there was so much information, that's all it could handle. With the recent release, I think it was 4.0, they managed to get it to start pulling relevant data today. So any information, events, things that are happening in your local community, things that are just happening worldwide, ChatGPT is pulling that information into the software and you have it available to you. The key to it, and we'll go through kind of how to use it at a very base level, is knowing how to ask it questions, how to use the software at a very rudimentary level, and then how to implement that a little bit into your businesses. So that'll be part of the combination with Canva. A lot of the softwares that you're seeing in the marketplace right now, for example, Canva, it actually is a smart piece of technology. It uses AI in the background, and they've just started to implement the use of systems like Chat GPT inside, so you can populate and ask it queries to be able to pull up quotes and documents and all sorts of stuff. And then that data that comes in, you can apply it to a template, tie it up to your social media accounts, and publish it. And that's kind of where Canva is going with it.
Amazing.
It is amazing stuff.
It's amazing.
So, thank you for coming today. That was a very impromptu.
We're all finished now.
Yeah. Introduction. I think what we're going to do today is, if you guys want to grab some food, and it's going to be super informal, so I'd love it to be interactive. A lot of you weren't here for the last session. Anthony came in and he talked to us about exactly what to say or exactly what not to say. We're going to do a little bit of a recap there, and he actually went through some additional training. How many of you guys have heard about Exactly What to Say, the book? No. Rebecca.
Here.
And,
That's right.
And I know Nick's listening to it now. If you guys have not heard about Exactly What to Say by Phil M. Jones, it is an amazing book. He wrote 2 books, Exactly What to Say, and then he wrote one, which is Exactly What to Say for Real Estate. This will give you, and Anthony will talk about it a little bit, but it'll give you some things to think about, your approaches, how to apply it to your business. So we'll go through some of the examples. Anthony just went through another certification process and came back and he's like, I got to do it again. So
Honestly, I'd go back even again.
yeah,
It's kind of addicting, but we can talk about that
yeah.
later.
And so after that, what we'll do is we can take a quick break. My friend Ted here is going to talk to us about Chat GPT, and then we're going to do some exercises. So hopefully you guys brought your computers, and if you didn't, that's okay. We're recording everything, and I'll send out a link with the recording afterwards so everybody can have access to it, and then I'll give you some resources as well. But this today will be an introduction into Chat GPT, and then I'll do a quick introduction into Canva and how you can take what we do in Chat GPT and apply it to Canva. And then we'll start following up with additional sessions in the future on how to grow the actual platform itself. So with that, welcome, Anthony. Thank you for coming again.
Well, thank you.
Anthony's driven all the way from Tampa to come chat to us today. So we're really excited to have him.
No, it's wonderful to be here,
Thank you.
hanging out with these 2 guys. I was hoping to get here earlier, but I don't know how you people do this with the traffic. It's
We don't
quite,
want 'em
it's
to
quite
get
something. It's quite something.
Back roads.
And the old hippie that I am, I get beeped at a lot
The
because
old
if the
hippie.
traffic is not moving that far, that fast in front of me, I kind of go slow. And it seems like the whole world is in a hurry to stop. And so I got beeped at a lot on the way here, and I'm pretty
happens.
certain that their blood pressure is higher than mine. But yeah, I have been to Phil Jones' Exactly What to Say certification now twice. And to be clear, I'm not a guide. A guide is the next level. What I've been certified in is how to have those critical conversations and the theory behind those critical conversations that we all have. And the 4 concepts, the 4 components of the critical conversation in the Exactly What to Say world is the moment when you need to say something, coming up with it in the moment you have to say it is probably not a great idea. Curiosity is the fuel for all great conversations. People do things for their own reasons, not ours. And then maybe the most critical component for me, which is the hardest thing to wrap my arms around, the person asking the questions is in control of the conversation. And under the guise of not coming up with what I need to say in the moment I'm going to say it, I take notes in my phone about what it is that I'm trying to do to have better conversations. There's 3 areas where we have critical conversations. We're going to talk about one of them today. There's leadership conversations that we have if we're in a position of leadership. There's personal critical conversations that we have. And then there's the business conversations that we have. Within the business conversations that we have conversations with buyers, with sellers. We have listing appointment conversations. We have expired conversations. We have conversations at open houses, online inquiry conversations. There's a series of conversations, critical conversations, that if we're better at, we're going to be able to have more impact on the people that we're trying to help and our business. The more I think about it and the more I go through it, yes, we all deal with buyers, but what critical conversations do you all have with buyers that are new buyer, old buyer, online lead. I mean, they're different conversations that we need to have. The components of the exactly what to say model are curiosity, empathy, and courage. It's a triangle. And I didn't bring the slides, but, right? So curiosity, empathy, and courage. And in the event that we are curious enough, and show empathy for the people that we are having a conversation with, you will build trust. And with that trust comes the opportunity to ask the next more courageous question, the more difficult question, and for that person to have the courage to answer that question more honestly, right? Past, present, and future are the buckets that we try to stay in. The conversations that we have around a buyer's past, well, they can talk about that pretty easily. When we get from the past to the present, why do you need to move, so on and so forth, right? I made this note the other day talking to my team, and I'm just going to read it to you. When you ask questions, it's far harder to make mistakes. How many of us, I'll put my hand up already, because I know the question and I know the answer, have a tendency to throw up information on our clients because we know everything about the market, everything about the neighborhood, and we want to get all the information out to them as quickly as possible, right?
Of course.
Have you ever been driving down 75 and you want to get a quicker way to get someone because you're stuck in traffic and you get off the highway and you ask somebody because you don't have your phone with you? Back in the old days, it used to happen to me all the time. Hey, how do you get to 75 South? And after about 2 minutes talking to this person, you think, holy shit, I'd rather be lost than listen to this, right? I don't want to be that guy asking questions of my past clients, my future clients, right, or my present clients, and have them feel like I'd rather be lost, right? We all have, we know more information than most, but we have a tendency to throw up information on people's shoes as opposed to tell them what they need. So if you fail to get the answer you hope for, if you ask the right question, you always can ask a better question, right? And maintaining the posture of being the asker of the questions as opposed to the provider of the answers is how you can help others discover their own answers, right? And ultimately help people make their own decisions. And then all we are a guide to help them do that. And the key thing is without them feeling manipulated or pressured, right? If someone says to me, I really need a 4-bedroom, 3-bath house with a pool, and it's $400,000, that's all I have to spend, and I know that that's not possible. There are many things that I can say to them. I can say, geez, that's not possible. Or I can ask the question, are you familiar with the Rolling Stones? They're going to look at me like I'm crazy. Like, she just did, right? You know, Mick Jagger told us a long time with it, you can't always get what you want. But you can try, and get what you need. Are you open-minded to the idea that we can get much of what you want, but not all of what you want, but we can certainly get you what you need for your budget in the current marketplace? And then I can share with them the market stats, the data, the graphs, all of this stuff that makes that more feasible, right? What I wanted to do is actually role play a little bit, or just talk about some of the critical conversations that we have. And Phil made these cards, and I'm just gonna have Stan pick a card. Maybe we'll do 3 of them. Hector, pick a card.
Okay.
We're gonna play card games. All right.
You can do a magic trick.
I wish I could.
I'd like
My
to
wife
see
says
that.
the only good magic trick is, can you make yourself disappear?
Oh,
I don't believe that.
I don't believe that.
Sometimes.
Rebecca does the same to me.
Wait, hold on,
So, she got, no, that's, we're gonna, it's, everyone's gonna help, right? And again, the idea of asking the right questions right? And building question trees specific to whatever this card might say. Which one did you get?
I got listing appointment. Mm-hmm. My home is better than the comps you used and deserves a higher price.
Anybody heard that before?
On my listing right now.
Okay, great. Okay. How do you respond to that now? Or how would you respond to that?
Why do you think your home is better?
Anyone
What
else?
makes your home better?
What improvements have you done so that you can support that?
Yeah. When's the last time you sold a home? Right? Be empathetic. And the first thing is like, be really empathetic with them. Yeah, your home is beautiful. Are you open-minded to the idea that maybe we can go through the comps and compare yours to others? Before that, the past questions. How long have you lived here? Right? You've raised your family here. How many children do you have? Get them to talk about their past. They're connected to the house emotionally. So if you tap into that by asking questions about their past, what made you buy it? Where'd you come from? How long have you been here? Right? Then get into the present. Why is it you're thinking of moving? Right? It gives context to what it is that we can say next. And Phil says all the time that content without context is just noise. Right? You might know everything there is to know about that neighborhood and all of the comps, and you've seen all the pictures because you showed up as a professional realtor and you prepared for this listing appointment, and you know it's worth $12 and she thinks it's worth $20, right? Knowing what it is that you can say, ask about their past and their present will get them to talk about the future. A great question.
Twice, Anthony, you've asked the question, and I think that's where a lot of people struggle is how do you transition from the question that they ask? You said, are you open?
I was going to ask to talk about, are you open to
Are you open to that? And then
Right.
I think that's what a lot of people need is
Sure.
those segue lines
Right.
that says, the comment was made here, I know I need to respond, but I need to figure out what that line is, that segue to get into that next conversation.
You know, and
31 logical phrases.
right, there's 31 of them that Phil has in the, no. The good news is, you're not the only person who is experiencing this, right? And I just opened up the book to a page, right? Let's do another one, all right? I bet you're a bit like me, and you want to get as much for your house as you possibly can in as little time as possible. There's just two of them, right? You have three options. I just said this to a guy yesterday. You can put a round peg into a square hole, you can put a square peg into a round hole, or you can deal with the current inventory and make the best possible decision based on what's available. Which one would you like to do, right? So, I mean, again, you're right. When would be a good time wouldn't be one, but are you open-minded to taking a look at the comps and trying to figure out how your house not only presents against the current competition, but against what an educated buyer, and would you agree, Mr. and Mrs. Seller, that we're looking for an educated buyer, not a stupid buyer to buy your house? It's going to make life a little simpler, right? An educated buyer is going to base things on the previous comps. Are you open-minded to taking a look at that? I'm willing to open up pull back the curtain and be the Wizard of Oz and show you everything there is to know about the marketplace. But again, to your point, uncovering what their motivation is, right? Uncovering what it is that is requiring them to move is a critical piece to that.
I think it's, with a phrase like that, very specifically, are you open to? People tend to be in a mindset that they know everything, especially when they're selling their house, right? And if you're asking somebody to be open-minded, you're putting them in an uncomfortable situation where they either have to be open-minded and consider being open-minded and thinking about things in a little bit of a different way, because they're not going to present themselves to you as though they know absolutely everything. So it forces them to open their mindset up a little bit outside of what they're currently thinking. And by doing that, it allows you to go back in and talk about the current situation, the home, in a more open manner. You're not intrusive, and you're not telling them that they need to do it. You're asking them for permission to think a little bit differently so that you can transition their mindset from where they are to where they should be.
And if you, most people have a bigger bark than they do a bite. And so if you ask that question, I don't know anybody who's going to say no, because that makes them look terrible. So it really does kind of present that people can open up and that they can be, they're going to listen to you more, because they don't want to be that person that says no. What's after no? I mean, they're stuck, and so they haven't thought it through that far. So you're just encouraging them a little bit.
No. What if? If you get them to set their expectations first, right? What are your expectations? What's your time frame? The questions we already asked. And then instead of saying, well, my time frame is 3 months and we need to be in Poughkeepsie by, August 1st. Oh, we can make that happen. Right? How about you ask the question, what if it could work out better than you thought? Right? Better than you think it might. What if we could put a scenario together where it would work out better than what we thought, what you think it needs to be? When you know the expectations, you can then, if you don't have to change, if their expectations are your expectations, you don't have to change anything, right? If their expectations are unrealistic, then that's where you have to dig a little deeper. You have to be even more curious, right? And even be more empathetic, right? In order to get them to be courageous enough to tell you ultimately what they want to have happen in a listing presentation. What did you get?
Servicing sellers. I'm not willing to stage my home or make any improvements.
Perfect.
Wow.
How fast do you want to sell?
Or are you willing to receive an offer at the price point that the house in its current condition is going to receive?
Sure.
Or would you rather explore the option of Curbio or something else, to where if it is about, where we're going to ask questions, if it is about, I don't have the finances now to do the improvements to the house, maybe we have an option to bring in a contractor who will let you do the improvements, realize a much higher sale price and a much quicker time, and there's no money out of pocket until the house closes. Would that be an option that you'd like to explore?
That's great. It's fantastic, actually. Okay. Again, what are your expectations, Mr. Seller? Right? And again, uncovering the expectations of what it is. Maybe they don't have the budget to do it, and your example or your solution is one that makes sense. Right? The idea that they don't want to do anything, when you're looking, you're going to be moving where, did you say? Poughkeepsie? Oh. When you're looking at homes in Poughkeepsie, what are you looking for in a house? Right? People have a tendency, at least in my experience, to have a different expectation when they're a seller than when they're a buyer. Right? Every buyer wants to get as much money as they can in as little time as possible, and they want to set the neighborhood record. And every buyer, since the beginning of time, wants to get the best deal possible. Right?
Always.
Always.
Yeah. I mean, so, and if you put the seller, if you're able to be curious enough to get the seller to think like a buyer, they may understand that if that's the only option for you, maybe we need to price it accordingly. Would you be open-minded to pricing it accordingly? What if we can't do anything? Would you be okay with pricing it where it needs to be? Right. I mean, you use their own motivation and their own experience to set the expectation in that instance. But being empathetic is really maybe the most important part of the whole thing. Being empathetic enough to say, yeah, I get it. You know, you're not the first person that's been in this position, and we've been able to help people. Would you like to hear how? You know, is certainly a way to That's a hard one, though. Right? Especially, I'm going to see a house in Bartow in a little while. I don't know who took the pictures, but Jiminy Crickets. I think I need a hazmat suit when I'm going in there. But my client wants to see it, so we're going to go in there and see it.
And everybody has a little bit of a different motive or circumstance. So
Finding
you
out
don't
the why.
know. You don't know exactly. It could be an investor that owns that house in Bartow and they're just offloading it. It could also be somebody that is in financial trouble
Sure.
and trying to offload that. So the circumstances change. You need to find out the why behind that.
Right. And again, as it says here, you want to trigger the show me you know me button. If I can ask enough questions so they feel like I'm getting to know them better, and I'm empathetic, and that's really the empathy piece of it, we're relating to one another. Right? The fact that a potential client feels like I may know them or getting to know them, I'm interested in getting to know them, that my curiosity is fueling the conversation, and that I understand that they're going to make decisions for their own reasons, not mine, and I'm empathetic around those things, we have a better chance of coming to some happy medium where they can say, can we try it at this, and if it doesn't work, can we backpedal, right? I've asked people the question just recently. I think we both agree that this is a little bit high. Would you be okay putting a plan in place that if we don't get the right activity, the right showings, and the right feedback, that we have a plan in place now to position the home a little bit better for you to reach your goals? Who's going to say no to that, right? Especially if you've thought about it beforehand and you know what those steps need to be. I mean, again, knowing what you need to say before you have to say it is so much better than trying to think of it on the fly, right? And the idea that no two transactions are the same, no two conversations are the same. I've told my next door neighbors, I tell the story all the time. I've told the house to my right 3 times, the house to my left 3 times. The only thing that's been the same is that I'm living in the middle. I was either the buyer's agent or the listing agent, depending on when it was, and they were the same houses. Everything else about those 6 transactions have been completely different. Different buyer, different seller, different lender, different time in the market. They're all unique. And we sometimes, in this scripted world, try to have that scripted thought in our head. So we have to say something as opposed to ask something. We work on our team a lot in our meetings about creating question trees around each of these cards, each of the things that we deal with. And for us right now, we're a lead-based team. And so how do we have conversations with new leads that come into our system? How do we engage them in a conversation? One of my guys said the other day, it was actually pretty smart of him. He said, have you ever sold a house to somebody that you haven't had a conversation with? I said, no. Has anybody? Well, you look, right? I think in the history of real estate, every single person that I've ever worked with, I've had a conversation with them first. So to engage a person in a conversation who's coming to us because they saw a pretty house on the internet and clicked on a button and they ended up in our database and we're trying to figure out how to have a conversation with them. If I'm more curious at the beginning, as Phil says it, hold on, I wrote this down too. All right. To offer a sincere compliment, a meaningful opinion, or genuine recognition, right? At the beginning of a conversation will get you a long way at the beginning of that conversation, and being respectful of the fact that they may just be looking, right? Sellers who want the value of their home, we did some math on our data, about 4 out of 10 are just curious as what the price of their house might be, and they have no interest in moving. So if I jump straight into, hey, when do you want to list your house? I've skipped all of the stuff that matters to them, right? I've skipped it all, right? folks should have the opportunity to dream and plan before they shop and transact. And if I break those question trees down into smaller pieces, let's just dream for a little while, right? Let me ask questions about your past and your present so I can help you dream. And then let's have some additional conversations once you trust me a little bit and I trust you and I'm a little bit more courageous to ask that next best question, right? Then let's have some conversation about the planning process, right? I don't want to say, are you working with an agent? Do you have a lender? Right off the bat, that's intimidating to people, right? Even if they're ready to shop next week and they need to have a house by next month, the whole lender thing can be really intimidating to people. And if I bring it up right away, I could turn them off. Right? So dreaming, planning, shopping, then transacting. And give the conversation the opportunity to breathe on each of those levels by creating questions in our mind that fit each of those segments, whether they're buying or selling. It's a little bit longer of a process, but the relationships over time are a little bit better. And if I'm going to help someone buy or sell a house, if we are going to help someone buy, sell, or invest in a house, having the opportunity to establish that relationship, right, is great. What did you get?
Listing appointment. This website says my home is worth this much.
I wonder what that website might be.
Yeah. about 5 or 6 probably.
Uh-huh.
I guess you're gonna have to explain to them, or try to think of it in questions, is, you know, who did you look at?
What website did you
What
use,
website did
right?
you go at? You know, was it homes that are still on the market, or it's homes that are sold? Are they old? I mean, we all know they don't upgrade their databases the way we would through our MLS. So they may not even know if they're pending or not, so when they ask them
Yeah.
if, you know, what do you know about it, you know, or how much more would you know?
You know what a great question to ask is for that one? I love this one. Does Zillow see that beautiful upgrade you did to your master bathroom when they put the valuation on your house? You know, ask them some questions about what they've done to their home, right? What have you updated since you bought it? And did you look at all the pictures on Zillow or Redfin or whatever? Yeah, you know, we updated this and we updated that. We put on a new roof. Well, when Zillow came to value your home, did they take into consideration that beautiful bathroom that you put in? Of course not. Zillow doesn't even know where your house is. Right? You know, what kind of experience do you have working with a local professional realtor? And the word professional is pretty important in all of this, because Phil also says the words you use will change your world. Everybody put their consumer hats on for a second and describe in 1 or 2 words a realtor. Sorry.
I'd use the word you just said. About professional,
What's,
knowledgeable.
Knowledgeable.
you think consumers, when they're asked about a realtor, that's what they think?
No, salesman.
They would have said that.
Right, right? But if you change the question, instead of saying realtor, professional realtor, it changes the context of the question and you get a different answer, right?
And I do feel that when you're talking about words are powerful. There are real estate agents, there's people who have license, and there's realtors. And I think if we do a little bit of educating to make sure they understand the difference between the two, that's where the term professionalism and working with excellence and educated and continuing ed, we're not just a person who has a part-time job as a real estate licensee compared to someone
Sure.
who this is their full-time job. And I think it is up to us as the educated ones, as the people that are trying to better our profession, educate buyers or sellers that there is a difference between.
Absolutely. there's a big difference between a listing agent and an agent with a listing. It's huge, right? And very often in listing appointments, we see homes that are selling in 5 days and homes that are on the market for 100 days in the same market, right? And we can look at that as professional, full-time realtors and understand that it's a little bit about the what, the where, the how much, and how it's being marketed, right? If you have a listing presentation or a listing package that you offer that includes more than just putting it on the MLS, if you can craft questions about what it is that you do, that they can say, that's important to me, and then you can say, well, I'm so glad you said that, because look what we do, or look what we've done, in response to something that they've said is better than you throwing it up on their shoes, right? The concept that Phil talks about a lot is sales. If we all think we're in sales, and I guess we are to some degree, right? Phil says that sales is earning the right to make a recommendation. I truly believe in all the homes that we've sold as a team and I've sold individually. I'm not certain I've ever actually sold one of them. I really don't think I have, right? It's not like I, sold a used car or sold a pair of shoes or a pair of Grateful Dead socks, right? I don't think I've ever sold anything as much as assisted someone in helping them buy, sell, or invest, right? So earning the right to make a recommendation is kind of the concept that Phil talks about. And if you push the show me you know me button, and then they understand that you're there for their benefit, not yours, right? You'll more likely get them to tell you some of the things that they're willing to, expectations that are critical versus things that may not be.
I think taking that approach changes agents as well. So understanding that I'm not really in sales, I'm here to help people find whatever they're looking for, homes and real estate, changes my approach when I meet people. The way I speak to them on the phone, the questions that I ask them on the phone to be able to derive the information that I need to then be able to find the inventory that they're looking for. If I just thought about it as a sales process, my process would be go straight for the jugular, how quick can we close? I'm going to find them whatever it is. Instead, my approach has been more human. I understand them a little bit better, and it takes the relationship a little bit to a different degree, to the extent that they feel so comfortable that they start referring to family, friends to you or their business people, and that's really where it becomes important, because now you're starting to create your circle of friends, and that real estate business comes from there. It's a trusted circle. You guys have questions? Everybody's so quiet. Comments?
It's deep, it's good.
Listening, yeah, it's deep.
We're just afraid he's gonna hand us a card.
I'm sorry?
We're just afraid you're gonna hand us a card.
You want one?
It's coming.
Nope.
Wait, I'm just gonna pick it up.
We're a team. We work together. We try to help our
Um, A simple one, asking for a referral. We all ask one. How do we do it?
Do you guys ask for referrals?
Or asking for a review, either one, right? I used to always do it right at the very end, at closing, right? Oh, we're so happy we got a house. Look at the keys. Oh, you got me a nice housewarming gift. The dog has a place to run and all, and everybody's happy at closing, right? Usually, right? Almost always. And that's when I would ask, if you have any family or friends or so on and so forth, or, you're going to get an email from us. If you can write a nice 5-star review, it's the best thing you can do for us, right? Since this process, that referral and review is foremost in my mind from the first time I meet them.
right? Just yesterday, my guy said to me, man, I can't believe you're taking this much time to help us. And you came all the way out of here. I said, you know what, Majid, if you do me the favor, just remember that. Can you remember that? And when we're done, you know, hopefully you'll feel, would you be comfortable saying that in a review? Would you be comfortable sharing that with your family or your friends? Right? I'm having, it's part of the long-term critical conversation that we're having that's going to end at a closing with hopefully everybody being happy. Right? I can't believe you did that. You know, do me a favor, would you remember that? Right? Because one of the people in my office is going to send you an email to ask for a review, and that would be wonderful for people to know that I do that. Right? So it's something, extending that critical conversation over the length of the transaction, the length of the experience. What it does, what it has done for me is my clients become closed and then they become past clients, and the past client relationship gets off to a significantly easier track. It gets off to a much simpler, when I call them up, they know I'm calling and say, hey, how you doing? Right? Right. I never call and say, we talked about this last time. I never call and say, hey, I'm just following up with you. I don't say that anymore. Right? Hey, I saw that your kid just hit a home run. How exciting was that? Right? Whatever it might be going on, right? I had a friend of mine recently, a past client, who had a grandbaby. And his son, who's bought a house from me, called me up and said, because he's a big guy, his wife's, they both work from home now, and they got this 5-month baby. He looks like he's 12. He's a big kid. And Zach is one of the sweetest, nicest people I've ever met. And Steve texted me about something, right? Because we're friends, his dad. And I just said to him, I said, dude, I got to tell you, I had the opportunity to meet your grandson, and you've raised an amazing young man as a son, right? Those kinds of conversations that we can have with people through the course of a conversation make it simpler for them to remember us and for us to be more viable or relevant in their lives, because it's really about them, not about me.
It's very cool.
I was gonna add, like when that person gave you a compliment at that time, you could ask for referral rather than waiting all the way to the end.
Sure.
So,
And in some instances, you don't even have to ask for it. So I recently had a couple that they didn't buy. They ended up just not buying. And we went out, we saw houses. The couple came in, dropped off a really nice bottle of wine, and went back to Canada and left me a review. I didn't even ask for it. And so if you do a good enough job, your job doesn't have to be about asking for reviews. You'll get them.
How many of us are more of a listing agent than a buyer's agent? Okay, and so the rest of us are buyers.
I love y'all.
You know, the idea that those two roles are different, I think, is another big piece to all of this. We all have a tendency to think like we have to pigeonhole ourselves or pigeonhole our clients into a particular bucket. All buyers are sellers and all sellers are buyers at the end of the day. And thinking about the conversations that we have relative to what they're going through at the moment gives you the opportunity to be more relevant to a person who decided, Ryan's a really nice guy and we just didn't see a house that we like, but I'm going to get him drunk anyway.
Well, the funny thing is they're back in 2 months.
Exactly.
And looking to buy a house.
Yeah.
So.
But to your point, right? Having that conversation at the moment that it's happening makes it more relevant, makes it more real, right? I've asked people, you know, man, that's so nice of you to say that. I can't thank you enough. Do you know anyone else who can benefit from this kind of stuff? Right? At the time when it's forefront in everybody's mind is not a terrible time to bring it up. Oh yeah, I do actually, right? Or would you do me the favor of thinking of some people that we might be able to help, that my team might be able to help the same way we're helping you, right? Most people are nice. I mean, all of the nasty people make the news and the headlines and all that. But most people are really respectful of other people and other people's wishes, and they're actually pretty nice. Most of us are, and tapping into that, right, is a good thing. It's a great thing. How many people know agents with commission breath? I just heard this comment. I mean, I didn't even know it was a thing. I didn't
Buyers
know
and
it was.
sellers can sense it as good or better than anybody else.
I mean, I'm dealing with a guy right now. He absolutely needs this. He brought a buyer to one of our listings. He absolutely needs this deal to close. There's zero doubt in my mind. I Googled him. I looked him up. And I looked him up on the MLS. He hasn't done a deal in forever. And I know he needs this deal to close. And that's when I was talking to a mentor of mine. He goes, well, he has commission breath. I said, what the hell is that? Right? I never really had heard of it. I guess I had experienced it, but I never really heard of it. I'm dealing with this agent now very differently, right? I'm incredibly empathetic to all of the things that I know he needs to have happen to cash this commission check. He's doing things for us that I never thought a buyer's agent would do, right? He's happy to help me because I made him my friend. We as a team are being incredibly empathetic to his situation, right? Hey, dude, you know what? And it's a relocation deal with one of those relocation companies that sends you all of the paperwork and the documents and the thises and the that's and right. And some of it he has to do, right? He's got to fill out this or whatever it is. I said, dude, if we're gonna get this done, that thing that I sent you, did you get a chance to see it? Right? And I used one of Phil's things. I know you've been busy. Maybe you overlooked it, or maybe you didn't get a chance to look at it. Oh, no, I saw it, but I just didn't know what to do. Can we talk about it so we can get it done? Because I want this thing to stay on track so that we can get to the closing day.
But you know is why. That's what it all boils down to. Every conversation, every relationship, every discussion, once you figure out the why, then you're the one who's in the driver's seat and you can help control the direction that it goes to.
The person asking the questions controls the conversation. Right? I know that with my wife. She starts asking me questions. I'm answering. Right?
Don't let her get to that question. Go into it. She's not angry.
Rebecca's shaking.
And again, read the room. There's a difference between a nod and a shake.
Yeah, that was definitely a
Well, thank you again
It's good.
for coming in
excellent.
and talking a little bit.
I'm happy to talk about this more with folks. I'm pretty easy to find. I honestly, I think about it all the time, and I thought about a couple of things in this conversation. So I thank you all that I'm going to add to my little list of notes here and exactly what to say and how to say it. Building those question trees, right? And thinking about yourself as a person who can help people in spite of the fact that they don't know exactly what they want is a critical component to all of this. We can bring our expertise to the table without throwing up on people's shoes. And knowing that sales is, for me, it's much more about earning the right to make a recommendation. And the last thing I'll say is, I say it all the time. If you don't give a recommendation until you can say the words, because you said X, Y, and Z, I feel comfortable recommending. Or because you said X, Y, and Z, can we consider A, B, and C? Right? If you can say those words because you said, you've done the work, the past, the present, and the future questions to know what X, Y, and Z are, that you can now more comfortably make a recommendation based on the things that they've said. And that's a hard thing to do, a really hard thing to do. And the other thing I'm doing with myself right now, I told Brian and Ted when we sat down, I'm trying to go 30 minutes at a time and only ask questions. It's really hard. It's really hard. I tried doing it with my dog. I got to the corner. Just me and the dog. I was just gonna ask him questions. Are you happy today? I was just like, me and the dopey dog. I got to the corner and I was like telling him stuff. I was like, oh. We are conditioned to tell, not ask. We really are. And if you can think about just reeling it back in a little bit and thinking of those questions, your conversations and relationships are gonna just blossom.
You said there was, I saw you open about 31 perfect,
Yes.
what is it called?
31 magic phrases.
31 magic.
And I'm happy, I have a sheet with all of those, Anthony@mytampaagent.com. I'm happy to share them with you. But they're all in the book.
Okay.
And then again, this book is great because he gives you examples of how to use them. All right? Before you make up your mind. And then there's 1, 2, 3, 4 different scenarios that may or may not make sense. So there's, I'm happy to share those with you. Thank you. Psychology of what some of these things mean. It's those transition things. They are the most important piece to this, and that's a whole other. That's honestly a lifetime of stuff. Thank you.
Thank you, Anthony.
Thank you.
Do you guys want to take a break?
You need to come up and get the
restroom,
food.
some food,
food, restroom.
and then we'll move into Chat GPT and a little bit of Canva stuff. These captions are all prompted by prompts, which is where the integrations come in.
This is the ultimate IT brand film. The visuals are chosen by an AI, which analyzed dozens of other IT brand films. Hello, I'm a deep male voice. Cybercom provides innovative IT solutions on a global scale. That's why this globe shoots out data. Pew, pew. We hope that this beautiful forest makes you associate beautiful Nordic nature with our company, because we too are Nordic and beautiful. Here at Cybercom, we like to keep our employees happy, and that's why all the paid actors in this video will be smiling, no matter where they are or what they're doing. And what does branding have to do with IT? Well, not much. But it makes for some great emotional footage. We have offices in all sorts of places, including Helsinki, Copenhagen, Stockholm, and Warsaw. But there's no skyscrapers, so this is Shanghai. We do not have an office in Shanghai. To us, coding is art. But according to AI, it doesn't look cool enough. So this is a painter instead. Our coders get adequate compensation for their work, unlike many artists. AI suggests that we should show a person wearing virtual reality goggles. I think he should be wearing helmets instead. Things don't exist out of sci-fi movies. Oh dear, still so much data. We have to speed things up now. Taj Mahal, supercar, kids, woodworking, ballpark, what's going on? That didn't work. Hey, maybe we should use the AI to actually do something useful.
So this commercial was completely done using AI. There wasn't any, they didn't produce any of the film. What they did was they went into the AI program, and as they were producing it, made calls, and it would pull content from the internet, basically from the web, pulled it into the software, and then they got to pick the imagery or the video content that they wanted to go along with the script. But the script was also generated using AI. And so that's part of the power behind AI, is that even for the least creative person, you can become extremely creative using artificial intelligence, right? You can come in here and do all sorts of things, create social media posts, you can create business plans, you can create blogs, and you don't do it in a singular manner, you can do batches. So you can create, for example, 52 posts all in one go instead of in an AI program. Take all of that content and then throw it into Canva, and it automatically generates 52 posts for you to be able to post it to your social media platform, for example. So I think what we're going to do is, Ted's going to talk about AI a little bit, Chat GPT specifically.
Who's used it? Who's used Chat GPT? So a few. Oh, good,
I don't
another.
think you call what I'm doing using it.
Experimenting.
Experimenting's good.
Logged in.
You've logged in.
Scares the hell out of me.
Yeah.
Have you? Those of you who haven't, is it because there's a lot of fear out there? So you can admit that there's a lot of trepidation about how is this going to work? Do I have to be a computer pro? Do I have to? You really don't. It learns as you teach it, and it's also learning from everybody else who is utilizing it. But Chat GPT is the actual website. It's a free account right now. And the AI will, in my opinion, allow you to build your business in a way that you haven't even thought of yet. And it will also allow you to do things that right now, as real estate professionals, we say we don't have time for. That's how fast and quick ChatGPT works. It's currently, just the ChatGPT part, is currently only on your computer. It's a URL, it's a website. So the advertisements that you see on social media for ChatGPT this or AI this is the primary one. Those are all accessory kind of programs. So I encourage you to not get caught up in that yet, and for you to learn how to play around with, experiment with ChatGPT. It's very easy to sign up, and it's very easy to start asking it questions. Do we want to do some examples? Do we want to? Okay, so one of the things that I love to do is create, I don't know who in here does newsletters. I know that at a certain time of month, a certain brokerage, I get 85,000 of them, and it's just the name changed, and the content is exactly the same. Wouldn't it be great if you could have ChatGPT, which it will do, create your own based on what you want to deliver to your database? You don't have to think up the ideas yourself. You don't have to find the recipes yourself. You don't have to create the fun facts, which we're going to do all that right now. You just tell it what you want to do, and you tell it in the voice that you want it to be. Let's pick somebody. All right. I'm going to pick you.
Oh, great.
So think about.
I'm gonna teach you to sit.
I can help. Let's build a persona. Go ahead.
Yeah.
Give it over.
So you're a real estate agent. You're in the Central Florida market, right? So tell me about the real estate. What type of real estate do you want to sell?
Vacation homes.
Vacation homes.
Love it.
In Champions Gate, is that the area that you read?
So what are you taking?
I'm a female. Can you see it?
Nope.
Oh, at the bottom. You can at the bottom.
Is it .org? So
Just chat in, put in
Chat.
Chat GPT, and it'll pull it up. It'll be Open API.
Yes, it's ChatGPT and OpenAI is what you're looking for when you Google it. Pull it up.
Mm-hmm.
Florida, probably. So it knows where your reunion is.
Might sure load reunion.
I'm a female real estate agent. I'm not identifying as that right now. I'm reading. I'm a female real estate agent serving the reunion market in Central Florida.
Now this is just to create your profile kind of thing.
Yeah.
Right? The
Your
more
persona.
you tell it, the more that you create that persona, the more it's going to sound like your voice that you want, and it's going to provide things that you would normally want your people to see in your interactions. It learns from you every single time,
And it's very specific as well. So like you said, the more specific you are, the better it's going to give you a response. So in this instance, I'm actually asking it to build a profile for LinkedIn. Let's see what it does.
Who's Linda?
And he literally just typed that and then hit enter.
Who's Linda?
LinkedIn.
Oh.
LinkedIn.
That's awesome.
I'm curious to see if you get the same as me, to get something different.
Completely different.
Completely different.
Yeah, I know something.
I don't want to see those dating sites with that.
And I haven't plugged in things like a name, I haven't put in phone numbers or anything like that. So that's kind of data that I will not put into Chat GPT because I don't really want it to learn that type of information about me, although you can. It probably does. I mean, if I put in Brian Hamawi, it probably will pull up my whole entire profile.
Really?
Yeah.
That's scary.
But it basically what it's done is it's taken the data of real estate agents in the Central Florida market and then looked at the Central Florida market as well.
Can you zoom in a little so we can see it?
Compiled all of that information, I'll go through it really quick, and given me as accurate as possible information for a profile for LinkedIn specifically. So in this instance, it's told us the name, put in your name, luxury real estate agent, investment property, and you'll notice that it has structured it specifically for LinkedIn. So this structure is exactly what you would put, you would copy paste this into LinkedIn and it's done.
And how many times have we struggled under the expertise part to come up with those creative words on how am I going to create this? What am I going to say? I don't want to be like everyone else, but I also want to sound like I have two brain cells together, and it does it for you.
So this says your name, your title is luxury real estate agent, investment property specialist. It's even got your icons, so you would insert the icons. It knows, it'll search and see which the most popular icons are for that particular field and give you that, because that's what people search for or identify with, helping luxury buyers find lucrative investment homes. That's your tag. And then your expertise, luxury real estate, investment properties, market analysis, negotiation, client relationships, relationship management. And it would have all of your information here.
And Brian, excuse me, you asked it to just create a profile.
And all I did was, it was based on my initial query, which was, I am a female real estate agent serving the Reunion market in Central Florida. I want to help luxury buyers find investment homes. Can you build my profile for LinkedIn? Okay, so about me. Passionate about real estate and the art of investment. I'm dedicated luxury real estate agent, specializing in helping high net worth clients find exceptional investment properties in Reunion Market, Central Florida, with a keen eye for market trends, deep understanding of local real estate landscape. I provide tailored solutions and align with my clients' investment goals. It then goes through all of the bullet points.
Hi, Harold.
I sure would.
Can you copy it? Because if I do it again, it's going to come up different,
Well,
isn't it?
here's it's true, one thing. So I can go back, if I don't think that this is accurate and it doesn't speak to my voice, I can come back in here and say, can you modify this to speak to more of the vacation rental market? Do it in a more relaxed, conversational tone. And it'll take that whole entire paragraph, hopefully, and redo this.
Oh.
See if I can change it to like let's chat. Or...
Yeah.
More personal.
Now, how long would that have taken us to just sit down?
I'll do it.
Right?
6 hours.
Exactly.
How much would it have cost you to do that?
All
Right.
right, we're talking about property descriptions. We're talking about our listings.
Yep.
James has got however many, 200, 300, 400 homes that they manage. What about property descriptions for that? I
So
mean,
give me an address.
That's a great question.
Give me an address.
7523 Excitement Drive.
Pending.
I just made that up.
I was going to say.
No, give me a real address.
No, that's a real address. 7523 Excitement Drive.
I love this.
I want to see.
7523.
Sorry,
That's okay.
I'm dyslexic.
So excitement.
Because it's going to go in and pull property information.
It's in Radiant. It's in Kissimmee or Radiant.
Can you say for the MLS or for Zillow? There you go.
I think it just took my words though from my list.
This is where I would say to everybody, you have to be cautious doing this kind of thing. The data isn't always accurate. So it will build a very close description for your property, but sometimes it'll miss bedroom counts, it'll miss whether or not it has a pool, and sometimes the description of the actual property might not be correct, but it's very close.
Plus you have to tell it, it has to be this many words or less too.
So you can do that. So I can take this and I can say,
Condense it.
can you,
So what is it? What's the restriction? Is it like 1,200 words or something? Or?
Over 1,500.
well, let's make it difficult.
That's characters.
500 characters. Jeez.
That's characters,
That's-
not words.
Correct. So it's going to take everything and give you 500 characters.
But let me ask you something. You ask the question, it gives you the answer. Couldn't you just edit the answer?
You can.
You
Yeah,
can, sure.
So
absolutely.
it's not like you don't have to keep
No, you can just copy and paste.
Copy and paste.
and then change it,
Yeah,
right?
so
Change
what
what I don't want to add. Yeah. Okay.
But a lot of people have trouble being able to take content that looks this big, dropping it back into Chat GPT, and now you've got a description which you can use for Instagram, for example.
Oh yeah.
Yes. And it also saves it. So if you want to go back in and look later and see what you did and what the iterations are, it's on the side screen. Well, I don't know if it's here, but on the side of the screen.
Yeah.
On the left side.
Now, can you transfer it from there to your Instagram or to whatever?
I'm going to show you how to do that.
He's going to show you.
We're going to show you how to do this. So let's say you, yeah, you can translate it into any language.
How accurate is the translation?
Okay.
Is it better than Google?
That's the one Spanish word I know.
You're selling.
Anthony, you know margarita and all that kind of stuff.
It says no
Exactly.
Yeah, that's right.
Can you read it then?
So
Yeah,
ask
no, it's
Alberto.
looking good.
I'll ask Alberto
Almost,
too.
eh?
But I don't know how to fill in the brackets. No. Or I could change it in English, upload it and say translate this to Spanish.
Okay.
All right, first off, the first time I came across Chat GPT was on my phone, and it looked like it cost money to use it, whatever app it was. Now that I know it's free, I'm gonna get in trouble.
Yes, you're
There's no app either right now.
There isn't an app
There's no
at
app
all.
web.
Yeah, it was through another company. It was-
Yes.
So you can pay for, there is a paid version for ChatGPT, but honestly, without having the paid version, most of the stuff that I do, I can do without it. I'm probably going to get into the paid version because you get additional functionality out of it. But for most people,
For beginners.
what they need to do, this is more than enough to just get lost in.
How's the translation, Jose?
Good.
Yeah?
I mean, I didn't read the whole thing, but for what I look at it, it's great. Actually, it's better than I would have wrote it. Better Spanish. Got punctuation and all that stuff that I don't know.
I gotta be honest, this stuff is really good.
It's scary. It's scary cool though. So if you understand how to almost harness the power behind ChatGPT and AI, it can work to your advantage to do almost anything. To the extent that they've got programs like Gmail now have done an integration with AI to be able to do automated responses based on the way you respond to your emails.
I already see it in the bottom of my prompts. It already gives me stuff.
Yes.
Sounds good, okay, where you can just automatically start.
Oh, no, it does additional that. It'll actually read your email and draft a reply for you now.
Yeah. You don't have
Oh,
to.
yeah.
You don't have to reply to your email. It'll ask you
Like
to
if I
read it.
get an offer and I just want to
Okay, how
send
do
the
you
standard,
integrate that
receive your
into
offer, blah,
Gmail?
blah,
It's
blah,
done. It's
email
in there.
it
You
or
just go
call
to
it,
Gmail and
send
you
a
can do it.
reply for me.
We can do it.
Review it, like a 2-paragraph reply thanking them and then send
It's pretty cool.
Wrap my arms around that.
whole thing
Yeah.
right.
And this is the kind of stuff that you start thinking about your business, and you're like, okay, well, how do I start to leverage technology to really start optimizing my day? And not everybody's fantastic at responding to emails or time management. And these type of tools are actually going to help you do all of that. I'm terrible at it. I'm terrible at being able to frame out my day and stick to it. But if you have a tool that can help you start responding to emails, all you've got to do is read it, click send, and it's done. All of a sudden, you've turned 2 or 3 hours worth of emails a day into maybe 20 minutes worth of work. The other thing is, so for example, from a marketing perspective for me, it's very time consuming to create good content to publish, right? Putting together the graphics, putting together the blogs, finding all of the data and all of that kind of stuff, and even down to the ideas. So using a tool like Chat GPT, since we're talking about reunion, we can come in here and say, create 5 posts that talk to
This is mind blowing.
people considering moving to reunion. So I've asked it to do 5 posts, and it's all related to.
Oh, man.
Hold in the hashtag.
Oh, the hashtag.
That article.
Well, the
No way.
Yes.
Pull the hashtags and then you can optimize it too.
Okay, I gotta go
Read
to
your
work.
You can go down a rabbit hole in this, but it's a really cool. It's really mind blowing.
You gotta remember to post it though. I've got like 3,000 posts that I've never posted.
You do have to.
Just post them all in one day. You're done.
Exactly, right?
So what I'm going to do now is take it a step further and say, give each post a title.
How about a title and a photo?
So it doesn't do photos yet,
Okay.
but it'll tell you.
Your photos.
So
It's lame. Forget this garbage.
Well, I'm just thinking, if one of my fun things, can we like put someone playing tennis,
Right?
swimming in the pool?
Canva?
There's your 5 titles.
Yeah, you could.
Well, cool.
Let me ask you something. I received, somebody sent me something or somehow I got it about this company that makes, you send them like 3 things and they create this video for your social thing. Is that the same kind of thing that we're looking at in here? Is that what they?
So you will be able to do that inside of Canva. Canva has currently, they built out an AI where you can go in, I wasn't planning on showing you guys this, how to do it today, but you can go into Canva and ask it to look for very specific videos for a very specific topic. And it'll pull videos related to that topic, and then you can build those posts or that content based on the queries that you get. Okay. Yeah. So we'll start with this because it's actually pretty simple. So what we would do here, and this is how we'll transpose all of this information from ChatGPT into Canva, is we would create a spreadsheet. You guys familiar with spreadsheets? And we can do this.
She did it through Chat GPT.
Select
She's
it.
trying to make a really good for the show.
Into
I mean, it's crazy.
1 second.
So basically, just copied and pasted what it did, and then it's throwing it into Excel, I guess, or whatever Matt uses.
This is
Sheets.
That's a Google Sheet.
Sheets.
So you just copied and pasted it into a Google Sheet, is that what you did?
And then technically what I can do is actually, I don't know if it'll work, but you can ask it to put it into a spreadsheet for you. I don't think it'll work because it's separate.
Okay, well then you will need to give access to the app to your other things, right?
I'll be interested to see what this is.
Let me see if this does it, and if it does, then I can go to see it here.
You did
It did.
Yeah. Okay.
Wow.
He combined the first thing and the second thing. So he combined the post title and then the body of the post. And he told it to do that and did it for.
Ryan, this is like freaky scary.
Create table with
See, that's where some struggles. What do I ask? What I need to do something, but what do I ask it to do?
What's great about it is you, just like you would ask a question, you ask it, and then if it doesn't give you the exact answer, you tweak it as it goes.
Mhm.
Talk to
There
it
you go.
like
Nice
a regular.
way to
Oh my gosh.
Look at that.
Oh,
This is why in that interview you were talking about, he said we need to put a pause on it. He was like, we're not ready for it.
Yeah.
Well, the gentleman who came up with this idea for Microsoft, I
this one.
saw an article where he was interviewed. He like stepped away from it.
Uh-huh.
It scares him.
So now,
so
what
now
we
you're
do-
going to copy and paste it right into.
So now what I'm going to do is copy and paste this directly into my, and I'll just. Just going to simplify it. So now I've got my title and I've got my description, my post in each one of these, right? What you would do here is you would then go back in here and you're going to save this or download this as a CSV file. Comma separated. And I can come into Canva. So let's say, how many of you guys are familiar with Canva?
I don't think enough. But
Yeah.
go ahead.
I'm not an expert, but
The first thing that you want to do inside of Canva is actually build your entire brand out. So you guys have, and if you haven't done this already, come into your branding kit, okay? In this instance, you would create a new one. Let's just call this specific to this one. You'd pull in your logos, your colors, choose your fonts, any photos that are related to your company, any graphics that you've done, and any icons. And the reason that this is important is because it actually helps you for any future designs, any future work that you're doing, it optimizes the way you work. So it'll automatically start pulling that content without you having to do your uploads again, looking for your fonts, anything like that. So I've got 2 of my brands already created. I'm gonna come in here and I'm gonna create a Instagram post. Let's do a post or story. And we can come in and say real estate. And it'll search for different real estate templates. I can grab one of these templates, we'll figure these out really quick. And in here, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go to Brand Hub. Find the colors. So I've got 2 different brands in here. And you can see how it starts changing all of the colors.
How are you
in here.
one at a time?
No, I could just come in here, select it, and it'll do it. I'm gonna do.
so we have like a canvas with a reel.
Yeah.
Do we create a separate one or do we
You can use that one.
integrate it with it?
Yeah, you can use that same one.
Okay.
So I put my logo up here. There's a title here. Contact us button here. I'm probably going to move this button down here. You can put your website here. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to import the CSV file. So you go to bulk create. There's just a button here. Upload CSV. So I've got 2 things here. I've got a title and I've got an explanation. what you would do is you'd come in here, click on it, click on the 3 buttons, and you're going to connect data. This first section, I'm going to call it my title. This second section, I'm going to call it my explanation. And I am going to click continue. Select it all, generate. Hopefully. Sometimes you get blocked.
It's not as quick as Chat GPT.
Definitely takes a little bit more upfront.
It's right there.
It's all done.
I'm just wondering, did you have to edit the toolbars there? Because I'm only seeing, like, we're only seeing a limited, you've got way more.
Okay, so Canva, I have the paid version of Canva.
That's what I was, yeah.
Yeah, so
Yes, okay.
potentially within Canva, you might have to upgrade, but you can see here that I've just created my 5 posts without having to do anything.
And you just save those and upload them at any time.
So what you would do from this point is you can come into Canva Pro, and Canva Pro does have a connection between your Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn. If you connect your channels, it'll automatically schedule, you can schedule it and automatically schedule all of these posts to go into each one of those channels, and you're basically done. This work would have probably taken me about 4 to 5 hours to do by the time I was all done with it. I can come into each one of these templates and I can modify template by template. So for example, I want to make it a little bit different. It's really easy. I can come in here, change my my image. My image is in here. Take this one, apply it. One thing that's really easy to do as well, and if you guys don't know how to do this, I'll show you how. You can actually do elements. If you go into elements and you select your grid and just do a simple grid, and if I went back to photos and selected that same photo, all you would have to do in this instance is drag and drop and it automatically adjust it to the size. You'll also notice that you can't really see the text here. So if you go back into your brand hub and you click on your shuffle, it'll change the colors according to the brand colors. So you don't necessarily have to go back in and start messing around with all of your hex colors.
So those brand colors get pulled automatically, or you have to click?
So that was on my setup. When I set up my
You set
Canva,
up.
I created my brand colors, and I also associated my brand colors with things like the title, titles, my fonts, everything's set up inside of Canva so that it just automatically recognizes what's supposed to.
So once you do all that setup,
It's easy.
you start.
You just go. Literally go. Questions?
A lot to take in.
I'm just curious, did you use the unpaid version before you did the paid?
No, because I do a lot of design here. Before Chat GPT came out, I already had Canva Pro. Now, advantages with Canva Pro is that they're building out all of their AI as well. So you can come in here and you can click on text image. And in here, this is where their AI starts working. You can say, if you were creating a video, for example, include photos. And it would automatically start pulling in content based on what you're looking for into those videos. You can be pretty specific. I'm going to say, as a real estate agent, I would definitely invest
It
now.
would be investment. It's not very much.
It's super
For
cheap.
the investment,
Yeah, it's super cheap.
especially if you're listed.
And if you guys are teams, you can also share into the team cost and it comes out a little bit less.
Oh, nice.
So you guys would pay a fee, not as part of JCP, but you can join as a team, and there is a team, like a collaborative way to do this, which is less expensive, but it gives you more tools as well.
To upload the CSV file.
to be able to do CSV.
Menu on the left-hand side.
Yeah. This menu here? No, it automatically creates it.
Can you do a video?
Do you want me to do
Yeah.
the video?
Yeah, do a video. See
If you didn't want to do it today, we want you to do this.
Okay, so the Chat GPT is only text pretty much by now, right? Pure question and answers.
Yes. Yeah, ChatGPT is really based around. Now, what is interesting is I can go into ChatGPT and I can say, I have a real estate company based in Reunion. I do luxury real estate. So just ask it to build me a logo. So what this is going to do is it's actually going to give you a written format for a logo. This written format for a logo is what you would use to go onto Fiverr, for example, and give them exactly what they need to know to be able to build your logo.
Oh, wow.
Because they always go like, what do you want?
Right.
And I'm like, that's your job.
Right?
So you can come back in here and you can ask it to be modern. You can use it to do things like create a logo like Tesla, Uber, whatever it is, and it'll actually take those components and explain those components inside of the description so that the designer knows what to recognize to be able to design it.
Wow.
Video content, I need to pull a
I
video
just shared-
to do that.
I just shared something on your text.
Mhm.
Rebecca Shiver just did a little 20-second thing through Canva, through AI in Canva.
Yeah.
If it'll play. Oh. That didn't work, I guess.
Well,
Yeah,
it's
just
ridiculous.
give me access to it, and it'll do that. It should do that.
It wasn't mine, it was Rebecca's.
Just text her back and just say, could you?
Oh, here it is.
Yeah, it
Request
should just, because it
access.
came from you. Just click accept, I think.
Chat GPT, please respond to the jerk.
Oh.
I was dealing with yesterday. No, here's what you do. The text that you write emotionally, drop it in there and say, please make this
Softer.
Absolutely.
calmer or whatever, gentler, and it will help you with that.
Well,
I'll tell you what,
That worked.
She's a velvet diner.
Because I just did that yesterday.
it's asking
I'm
you
gonna
to
copy
create
and paste it to
a
the
request.
email I sent yesterday.
She shared it, I don't know why. I didn't-
Have her share it with me. and I'll
Okay.
play it. So, I mean, you can do things, ridiculous things with ChatGPT, and this is just for fun, right? But you guys aren't songwriters, right? Is anybody a
Not yet.
songwriter?
We will be in just a moment.
Yes, you will. We absolutely will. So, give me a topic.
A song about the beach.
Let's write a song.
Umbrellas.
A song about the beach.
Let's write a song to Nick. We have two Nicks.
Yeah, from Jamie to Nick.
Please don't.
How sweet it is.
He's my metal loving heart.
It's
Where the
pretty good.
crashing waves and guitar solos.
Oh, my anniversary is gonna be amazing this year.
Oh.
Oh, seriously, you could write a song?
It's October.
Well, so you say you could use this to answer emails and stuff, right?
There you go. And now I've actually, literally written a song. Sorry. And it's giving me all of the chords.
Can you say,
Where
I
are
cannot
they?
sing You Don't Want Me to.
Yeah, right. What are the chords?
But if I set this over to wherever Nick is gone, he could play this on guitar.
You did it.
So then you take this, right?
It's going to be.
You can create a video, have the music generated by a musician, and put an entire video together for their anniversary.
Major points on that.
Yeah.
There's gonna be a lot of hard work.
That's what
This is, and this is just the very, very basic. I created, and I'll show you. So I created an entire blog. I'm redesigning my blog.
You do blogs, vision statements, mission statements. Think about introduce it. You get asked for those, or you're ever like you already did LinkedIn, but I used it to create a mission and a vision statement. Think about the things that somebody else writes for you, or you don't want to sit down and do it. Ask Chat GPT.
Yeah, I mean, and you can take it to the extent of writing business plans. You have a new business idea, right? So, I don't know, I want to start a golf cart company. Okay, so I've just asked it to give me 5 names for the company. Fine and vintages. See what's that.
Create a business plan for Vine and Vintage
Or the company will,
launch. So when you read, what did you ask?
So I'm asking it to write a very rudimentary, there's nothing specific really in here, other than create a business plan for Vines and Vintages where the company will launch in Q4 of 2023. We want to focus on New Zealand and Sauvignon Blanc. We want to sell $100,000 by 2024. It's given me the title of the business, executive summary, company description, market analysis, product line.
For a company that's very real.
Marketing strategies.
It's real now.
It's right.
Financial projections.
Now, if there was smart, somebody who works at Chat GPT would be like buying that website name, posting it for sale.
That's exactly what you do, because now what it's doing is it's pulling the most relevant names and searching for it. This is what people search for the most, and now you go ahead and buy it. I'm not telling you to go do that, so it'll cost a small fortune. But, I mean, if I really wanted to start to dive into this, let's apply it to real estate. So it gives you everything from your market strategy, branding, financial projections.
It's not a manual.
It tells you exactly, more or less, how many transactions you need to do to be able to hit your GCI growth plan. And then you can take this multiple steps further. The idea here is that it's going to give you a general idea of what you're supposed to be doing. And then through Chat GPT, you can actually start to break it down even further, knowing the questions that you're going to have. So the further and further I get into this, I can go into month 1 through 3 and say, okay, month 1 through 3, I need to do social media posts. We'll do the first month. Okay. So it's told me here that the first month, it gave me my target audience, brand positioning, website, you need to have content creation, social media presence. What I can do now is I can say, create blog posts.
Brian, this is like, I mean, it's telling a rookie agent has no information every step that they could do.
Right. So what I just showed you guys how to do inside of ChatGPT, taking that content and putting it into a CSV, I can take all of this stuff now, break it down. I can create blogs. I can create all my social media strategy, build all of my posts, schedule it.
You become the market expert.
You do. Very easily. Yeah.
Pick a community.
Yeah.
Forget going about if you don't want to do reunion. If you're farming orange tree, you're doing, pick your community and become the market expert of that community.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
You gave me a tool to play with for the next 3 months.
If you guys want to, we'll be doing more sessions. I know that the next session next month, we might be doing 2 sessions. We're actually going to be doing one down in Celebration Title. We've got Chad Vaughn, he's a Instagram and YouTube sensation. You guys just all over the place. He's going to come in and teach us some strategies on social media. We might actually have our marketing team come in as well and teach us a little bit about Instagram posting. Our video team's going to come in and help you guys set up your phones, teach you a little bit about how to set up your phones and take good video for your platforms. And then you'll
create some posts on site and release them.
So yeah.
Well,